attendance?
You can start. And if anyone takes the responsibility of giving me, it will be favor for me. Okay, just let it be. Entering the attendance is not so important. First observe, watch this video.
Ma'am, can I mark all student attendance?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Can you see this screen of DNA replication?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I will make its full screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, your screen is not visible.
It is visible, ma'am.
Yeah, it's
Now
Yes,
it's
ma'am, it is visible.
visible. Now it's visible.
so. Have you understood? Okay. So let us begin the next part now. That is of protein synthesis. Once you understand this, then you will understand protein synthesis. Okay. See, this is what we are going to start with the next part of this chapter, that is central dogma of protein synthesis. That means what is the concept of protein synthesis, how proteins are produced or synthesized. If you remember last year, we have learned all the different organelles, right? Yeah, all the different organelles in prokaryote as well as eukaryotes, right? So what is the organelle where the protein synthesis takes place? What is the site of protein synthesis? You must be knowing, though you don't remember. Now I'll tell you that ribosomes are considered to be the site of protein synthesis. First, once you know the chemical structure of proteins, what the proteins are made up of? They are made up of amino acids. So that is the chain of amino acids. Depending on the number and the type of amino acids, the type of protein is to be produced. But before that, who is the master which decides which type of protein is to be produced? That is DNA. Now, where the DNA is present? DNA is present in the nucleus. Where the ribosomes are present, they are present in the cytoplasm. So all these basic things you should take into consideration. Then how this protein is produced? Protein is nothing but a chain of amino acids where these amino acids are joined to each other by the bond, and that bond is called as peptide bond. And such many bonds are present where many amino acids are joined to each other, and that's why this is called as polypeptide. So what is the central dogma of this protein synthesis? If you see page number 77 in your textbook, that is taking place in two steps. That means DNA to mRNA and mRNA to polypeptide. So first step is called as transcription and the second step is called as translation. Today we are going to study only the first step. That means for transcription. Now you know what is the meaning of transcription? Transcription is nothing but the information is transcribed, that means stored or carried to something else, from one thing to the another thing, that means from DNA to your mRNA in a code language. So that is called as transcription. So the information from DNA is transferred to mRNA in a specific code language, and that is what called as transcription. So this is the first step, and that information again is translated in the form of polypeptide chain, that means the proteins, and that is called as translation. You know the meaning of translation very well. First, that information is transferred in a code language, that is called a genetic code. In the next part we will be studying what does it mean, genetic code, and all the details we will see. But first you try to understand what is it. That is the central dogma of protein synthesis is nothing but the information. Which information? Which type of protein is to be produced, how much it is to be produced, at what time it is to be produced. That means all the details of the synthesis of proteins. That is the information. Who is giving? That means DNA. So who is the master here? Master copy or master mind, you can say, for the process of protein synthesis is DNA. DNA only decides which type of protein is to be synthesized. So that information is carried from DNA to mRNA in the form of genetic code, or in the form of specific language, code language you can say, in the code form, and from mRNA it is translated for the synthesis of proteins. That you remember. Sometimes, if one more thing you should know here, that there is one more concept called as reverse transcription. Reverse means opposite direction. So again from mRNA, DNA fragment or the DNA can be produced in the, because this is just the reverse process. So this is called as reverse transcription. The same information from DNA is taken on mRNA, and from mRNA again DNA can be produced. So that is the opposite way. So that is called as reverse transcription. Now, what is the use of reverse transcription? We will discuss later, but this is just in the additional thing you should remember. Now, this is what you can understand with the help of this diagram, that this is the nucleus. Any cell, eukaryotic cell, now you just imagine where it is present in the, generally at the central place the nucleus is present, and it is surrounded by the cytoplasm. So this is the nucleus where DNA is present. This DNA information from DNA, it is carried to mRNA in the nucleus itself. And if you remember the structure of nucleus, that nucleus is having the membrane, double membrane structure, and in between that few gaps called nuclear pores are present. So through the nuclear pore, this mRNA is moved, it comes in the cytoplasm to the place, that means the site of protein synthesis, called as ribosomes, because ribosomes are present in the cytoplasm. So through nuclear pore, this mRNA, which is carrying now the information for the protein synthesis, which is taken from DNA in the form of code language, that is genetic code, that comes, it passes out through the nuclear pore, comes in the cytoplasm to the actual site of protein synthesis, that means ribosomes, which are present in cytoplasm. So this is what you need to remember. Now, so this is again one more diagram where which describes DNA to RNA, that is called as first step transcription, and from RNA to protein, that is called as translation. So from RNA, that information is translated to form that particular type of protein. Now we will discuss first the first step, that is transcription. Again, here it is very clear. You can see this is the nucleus having the double membrane structure with the gaps in between called as nuclear pores. Now this is the double stranded structure called as DNA, that is the double stranded DNA. Now from DNA, this information is carried to mRNA, and this is called as premature mRNA. This pre-mRNA, that means the premature mRNA, or this is also called as primary transcript or primary mRNA, that also can be it is known as. And this mRNA, which is premature, that is processed and it becomes matured mRNA. Okay, that means after processing, this mRNA is now ready for the next process, that to pass and reach the actual site of protein synthesis. So this processed mRNA through nuclear pore comes in the cytoplasm where ribosomes are present. And here is the ribosome, and you should know the structure of ribosome also, which is made up of two subunits, smaller and the larger. Two subunits in prokaryotes, their units are different, and eukaryotes, their these are of different units. Two big and the smaller and the larger subunits are present, and there here is the actual mRNA, which is shown here, which reaches the ribosome, and then ribosome is considered to be the actual site of the protein synthesis. Now how it is working, that we will see in the next part. So this DNA information is copied to mRNA, and this is the first step called as transcription. Only first step we are going to discuss today. So what is that transcription, how it is taking place? This RNA polymerase enzyme. Now just now I was telling you when I was explaining DNA replication, that there are two strands. As you know, DNA is having two strands, right? It is the double stranded structure. Here in the diagram it is shown, this is one strand, this is another strand of DNA. Temporarily these two strands are separated, unwinded from each other, and one of the strand only works as a parental strand. Now in case of DNA replication, both the strands are working as a parental, because what is it is going to synthesize DNA, which is the double stranded structure. Here what it is synthesizing, it is synthesizing RNA, which is the single stranded structure. You have learned last year that RNA is the single stranded structure. So out of these two strands, only one strand will work as a parental strand. That is also called as template strand, also called as anti-sense or anti-coding strand. Now don't get confused. Anti-sense and sense strands, nothing but the anti-sense is what this strand which is working as the template. So best to remember is that template strand or parental strand you remember. Because the another is called as sense strand or coding strand because exactly complementary nucleotides are present here. So that is also called as another strand which is not working here, functioning in the process of RNA synthesis. This is called as non-coding, coding or sense strand. Now, this parental strand which is working here, that RNA polymerase binds to the RNA nucleotides to form mRNA polynucleotide. Just like the synthesis of new strand of DNA on for in DNA replication, here also similar steps are there. Only the difference is what? Here, as it is RNA single stranded structure, only one of the strands out of two is working as the template or the parental strand. Second important thing is that if you remember that in case of RNA, that thymine is replaced by uracil. So complementary nucleotide which will be uracil instead of T, thymine, in case of synthesis of RNA. So you can see here now at one end, at a particular point that the origin starts. So there, the whatever the nucleotides are present on the parental strand, complementary nucleotides will be received from the nucleoplasmic pool for the synthesis of RNA. That means the RNA polymerase chain. Now, this polymerase is the enzyme. Try to understand the meaning of polymerase. Poly means many, meres means units, many units are joined. And for that, that enzyme which is working is called ASE when it is attached at the end, that is polymerase. As it is RNA, that is RNA polymerase. So, this is the enzyme which works, functions to form, initiate as well as elongate and terminate. So here are the three steps: promoter, initiator, then elongation and then termination. So at a particular point called as promoter point, that initiation of the chain of RNA, what are these polymers? Mers means units and poly means many. What are these? Nucleotides of RNA. Like deoxyribose nucleotides, here what are the nucleotides? Ribose nucleotides, right? So if it is thymine on the parental strand, obviously complementary nucleotide will be A, that means adenine. So if it is adenine on the parental strand, what will be the complementary for RNA synthesis? Not thymine, but instead of thymine, what will be here? Uracil. So like that, G is there, C will be present. If it is C, then G will come in contact with. So in this way, the chain of this nucleotides, that means RNA nucleotides, which is called as RNA polymer, right? That is the nucleotides chain. And what is the enzyme? RNA polymerase. So in this way, the chain of nucleotides will be produced with the steps called as promoter, promotion, that means the initiation at a particular point, elongation of this chain, and then termination, that it is called as where this process stops, gets terminated. That means synthesis of that RNA nucleotide chain is completed, that is called as terminator point, and where it is started, that is called as promoter point, and the in between that chain gets elongated, that is the elongation. So this is what considered to be the direction of transcription, which is downstream in the sense what, from newly synthesized strand always again from 5' to 3' direction. So first RNA activated nucleotides pair with the complementary bases of the DNA strand. Just like DNA synthesis, the nucleotides over here also get activated first, but which are related to RNA, right? So RNA activated nucleotides pair with this strands which are complementary to the nucleotides present on the master, or you can see the parental strand. They get attached, and as they get attached and they are bounded to each other, bind to each other by the hydrogen bonds, these also get released. That RNA polynucleotide chain also gets released from it, and then it is what this, it gets released from the template, and this structure which is winded or separated, then it comes to its original form. Again that winded structure gets unwinded structure gets winded, separated part gets to its normal uh, structure of DNA. So I will show you now again the steps. Transcription, which takes place in the nucleus. During transcription, information of only one strand of DNA is copied into RNA. This strand of DNA acts as template. An enzyme, RNA polymerase, catalyzes the formation of RNA transcript. And this entire part is called as RNA transcript. Transcript, why? Because it is the process called as transcription, because the information from the DNA is taken in the on the mRNA. So that's why this is called as transcript. Transcription occurs in the nucleus during G1 and G2 phases of cell cycle. That's why I told you in the last lecture also that you have to learn the cell cycle. I revised that part also. In the cell cycle, again I will tell you how it is divided into interphase and mitotic or meiotic phase, right? Dividing phase. Interphase again is divided into G1, S and G2 phase. Now last time we discussed that is DNA replication, where it takes place in S phase, synthetic phase, because what is synthesized? DNA. And now RNA replication, where it is taking place. Now here, for example, for protein synthesis, this transcription, where it is taking place in which phase? G1 and G2 phase of the cell cycle. DNA has promoter and terminator sites. I showed you in the diagram also. So transcription starts at promoter site and stops at terminator site. It involves 3 stages, as I told you. Initiation, where it starts, elongation, the synthesis of that RNA polynucleotide chain, and termination, where it gets terminated, means stopped, it is completed. Now this is what transcription unit means. Each transcribed segment of DNA is called transcription unit, because from the DNA the information is transcribed in the form of RNA, in the form of genetic code on mRNA it is taken. So it consists of promoter, the structural gene, and terminator. Now this is one more diagram where you can understand this purple colored strand, that is considered to be what? The parental strand. That is also called as template strand. So out of 2 strands of DNA, 1 strand which is working as a parental strand is called as template strand. And the newly synthesized one, as I told you, that at the 3' end, which is of the template strand, there the promoter gets attached of the new strand for synthesis of new strand. That means the RNA strand which is to be produced, RNA which is to be produced. So this is what promoter site at the 3' end of the template strand, and the 5' end of the template strand is considered to be the terminator site. And this is the coding strand, in the sense that means what is coded? The information from template, that means parental strand, is coded on the new strand of RNA. So this is called as coding strand. This is called as transcription unit, which consists of promoter, structural gene, and terminator. Okay. Now what happens in the next, I will repeat again. After binding to the promoter, RNA polymerase moves along the DNA and causes local unwinding of DNA duplex into 2 chains in the region of the gene. As I showed you in the diagram also. Temporarily, that unwinding of the DNA, the double strand structure takes place, and it only one strand then functions as template. So that is called as antisense strand, and the other strand is complementary, which is actually a coding strand, that is called as sense strand. Okay, the ribose nucleoside triphosphates join to bases of DNA template chain. I showed you in the diagram. As transcription proceeds, the hybrid DNA, that is RNA molecule, dissociates and makes mRNA molecule free. As and when the polynucleotide chain is formed, it gets dissociated from the parental strand. It gets released. So from the DNA, that which is a parental strand. When RNA polymerase reaches the terminator signal on the DNA, it leaves DNA and fully formed mRNA, which is called now as primary transcript. This is the primary structure of RNA. And as the information is transcribed in the genetic code, that is called as transcript, that is released. And as mRNA grows, the transcribed region of DNA molecule becomes spirally coiled and attains, that means regains, double helical form again. That means whatever the strand was working as the parental strand or template strand, once this RNA is removed from it, it gains its own structure, that is double stranded structure of DNA. Now again here it will be very clear with the help of this diagram. See, this central this strand you see, this is called as template strand. Means these are the two strands of DNA. Temporarily they are unwinded, that means separated from each other with the nucleotides, whatever the nucleotides are present on it, that particular sequence. And this is 5' end to moving towards 3' end. This is what the template strand of DNA, and this is called as antisense strand. Okay, now what is the another strand? That is called as sense strand or coding strand. In the opposite direction, you can see if it is running towards 3' end, here in the upwardly directed form it is shown 5' to 3' direction, and the another strand, that is called as coding strand of DNA, that is sense strand, called as in the opposite direction. And you can see the complementary nucleotides T, A, C, G, A, T, G, C, all these, right? Now this template strand only working as a parental strand out of these two, and this is called as antisense strand. Now the newly synthesized strand will be, you can see here, this is the 3' end, so it will start from here. That means the newly synthesized will be again from 5' to 3' direction. So obviously 3' end of the template strand, parental strand, will be free, where the complementary nucleotides of RNA are added, get attached to the 3' end. So it is T. So what is the complementary to A? T for RNA, it is A. What is complementary to C? G. What is complementary to A? Now you can see here, for RNA synthesis it is replaced, this T is replaced by U. Thymine is not there. As it is synthesis of RNA, it should be uracil. So that T, thymine, is replaced by U, that means uracil. So this is the difference of the mRNA strand which is produced and the another, that is the sense strand of the DNA. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, but why thymine is replaced by uracil?
It is the structure, no? That is the basic structure of RNA and basic structure of DNA. There are the differences. If you learn last time the differences between the DNA and RNA, so many differences, list that table I had shared. So you go through that again. Do that homework. Then you will come to know. That is the basic structure model of mRNA. There are so many differences between mRNA and DNA. How can you say that why I look different than my sister or brother? Isn't it? That is a natural. That's why that is this RNA and this is the DNA, isn't it? This is double stranded structure. The basic models means whatever the contents units, only nucleotides are different. So here, this, as there is synthesis of RNA taking place, it will not take thymine because it is synthesizing RNA. It is not synthesizing DNA. There, in case of DNA replication, obviously it will take T only, thymine only, because that is DNA. But here, if you study the structure, chemical structure, and even molecular structure of the DNA and RNA, these are the basic differences between DNA and RNA. DNA is double-stranded, RNA is single-stranded. That is deoxyribose sugar is present here, only ribose sugar is present. So these are the basic differences between these two. Okay, so here, as it is synthesizing RNA, here what it will receive, it will take uracil from the nucleoplast. It is here G, so complementary will be C. Here it is T, complementary will be A, adenine. So in this way, in the opposite direction, you can see again, it is synthesizing new synthesized strand of RNA from 5 prime to 3 prime. So this is what now called as primary mRNA. Primary mRNA. This is also called as primary transcript. Now, these things now are very important. You remember that in eukaryotes, there are 3 types of RNA polymerases. That is RNA polymerase 1, 2 and 3. RNA polymerase 1 is responsible for the transcription, which transcribes rRNA. Polymerase 2 transcribes mRNA, that is also called as primary transcript. And heterogeneous nuclear RNA. I will explain you what it is. First, remember, RNA polymerase 1 synthesizes rRNA, polymerase 2 transcribes mRNA, and 3 is responsible for the transcription of tRNA and small nuclear rRNA. Now, this primary transcript or heterogeneous nuclear RNA. Now, as the information is transcribed, this is called as primary transcript. Now, why it is heterogeneous? Hetero means 2. Genus, genetically, 2 or different forms are present in this RNA. That's why it is heterogeneous. And why nuclear? Because it is produced in the nucleus. So this is nuclear RNA. Why then what are heterogeneous forms? That means this RNA which is produced in the nucleus, that means nuclear RNA, it shows the presence of some sequences which are not useful or used for, or which are not coded. They are called as non-coding regions, and some are useful for the protein synthesis. These are called as coding regions. So accordingly, that's why two different forms are present. So that is called as a heterogeneous type of nuclear RNA, right? Then RNA polymerase is responsible for the transcription of tRNA and also small nuclear RNA. It is very small and it is produced in the synthesized in the nucleus. So this is called a small nuclear RNA. tRNA is small. Now, that's why I told you at first only. Now, next time when we are going to start the next part of protein synthesis, you should learn the structures of mRNA, rRNA and tRNA very clearly. Then only you will understand the next part of protein synthesis, that is translation. Now, let me tell you about the transcription unit. The DNA sequence coding for mRNA, rRNA or tRNA is defined as a gene. That means the sequence of DNA which is coded, which is used for the coding purpose, that is considered to be gene. So the DNA sequence coding for mRNA or tRNA or RNA, that is called as gene. And cistron is nothing but the segment of DNA coding for a polypeptide chain. Polypeptide, just now we studied that entire polypeptide chain is formed, whether it is synthesis of RNA or it is synthesis of DNA. That is what here polypeptide word for the synthesis of RNA. So the cistron is segment of DNA coding for a polypeptide. A single structural gene is transcription unit. In transcription unit is said to be monocistronic, whereas a long segment of DNA having set of various structural genes in one transcription unit is referred as polycistronic. Now you know the meaning for the cistron, that is responsible for coding DNA coding for polypeptide. When a single that is monocistronic. When many such transcription units are present, that is polycistronic. Now we'll see structural genes in eukaryotes have interrupted, as I was telling you, interrupted non-coding sequences. Now just know why this is called as primary or premature mRNA, which is produced now, gets released from the DNA, that but still it is there in the nucleus. It is called as premature or primary mRNA. Why? Because it contains these, and that's why this is called as heterogeneous nuclear. Heterogeneous, why? Two different forms here are present. What are these two different forms? Non-coding sequences, which are called as introns, and coding sequences, which are called as exons. So that's why this is called as heterogeneous. And as it is produced in nucleus, nuclear RNA. Now, what is required for the process of protein synthesis? Only coding sequence is required. So, non-coding sequences are to be removed. So, that's why when these non-coding sequences are removed, then and only coding sequences called as exons are kept, that is called as processing. But not only this much is required, but two more steps are involved in the processing of this hnRNA. H for heterogeneous, N for nuclear. Remember. So what is that processing? What are these three steps we will see now? Processing of hnRNA is required for the process, for the synthesis of proteins. That is, processed mRNA is required. How it is processed? It is done in three steps. In eukaryotes, forms of RNA transcribed from DNA are called primary transcripts. As I told you, such transcripts undergo changes called processing or maturation before becoming functional. Before that mRNA becomes functional or ready for the protein synthesis, it should be processed. And then when that processed one is called as maturation or matured mRNA. Now what is done for that? Primary transcript is non-functional and contains both exons and introns. For that, during processing, only introns, that means non-coding sequences, are removed, and that removal of non-coding sequences called introns is called as splicing. So this is the first step, that splicing is done. That means if you know how you splice or cut any fragment or thread, or you can see any part and you make into slice, right? So splicing is done, that means cut is done. Why it is cut? Because which unwanted part is to be removed, right? What is the unwanted part in the process of protein synthesis? That is non-coding regions, that means introns. So that is called as splicing, right? So like we cut the vegetables, only take only the edible part and non-edible part we remove, like that. You just remember, splicing is what? Unwanted part, that means non-coding region which is present on that primary transcript, that is to be removed, and that non-coding part is introns, so introns are removed. Now two more steps are very important for in the processing. It is not over now. Processing is not over. Only non-coding regions are removed, that is splicing. But along with that, two more steps are done. That is, one is capping and the another is tailing. And it is very simple to remember. Capping means what? Where you put your cap on the head, right? So capping is done in the same way. For that, you need to remember the structure of mRNA. Now, it is very simple form of structure of mRNA, the single-stranded structure it is, with the 5' end as head and 3' end as tail. You can consider it as, right? So 5' end of that mRNA, that 5' end capping, that means you can just imagine, remember that it is the head. 5' end of mRNA you consider head, and on the head cap is placed. That means capping is done. So at that 5' end, capping is done. What is capped? What is kept on the head? That is at 5' end. What is added? That is guanine triphosphate. That means GTP, guanosine triphosphate. So is added. methylated guanosine triphosphate is added at 5' end of this hnRNA, and that is called as capping. And at the end, that means 3' end is considered as tail. You can consider tail. How it is tail? It is long, right? So what is the long tail of this mRNA? 3' end. This is what done polyadenylation takes place at the 3' end. Try to understand. Poly means many, adenyl, that means adenine nucleotides are added at the 3' end. So it becomes a long structure like a tail. So that is why it is called as tailing. So what is done at the 3' end? Many adenine nucleotides are added, which gives the appearance like a tail. So this is called as polyadenylation. Poly means many, adenine adenine nucleotides are added, and that process is called as adenylation, polyadenylation. So this is now called as fully processed hnRNA, and that fully processed hnRNA is now called as mRNA, that is mature RNA, mature mRNA, and now it is ready to work for the synthesis of protein. So for translation, mRNA is transported out of the nucleus through nuclear pore, right? So this is what done. Now this, with the help of this diagram, I can explain you here. This is the double-stranded structure of DNA, from where this is the RNA produced, which is released from the DNA, and this RNA which is produced, it is called as primary transcript or hnRNA, which shows the presence of exons and introns. Introns are non-coding regions, exons are coding regions. So this is immature RNA, which is not yet ready for the process of synthesis of protein. It is to be processed. So what is done? First, these non-coding regions are removed. That is called as splicing. These rounded structures. Can you see? These are called as spliceosomes. So with the help of spliceosomes, these non-coding regions are removed. So this is the first things. That is first step called as splicing. Then what? At the 5' end, methylated guanosine triphosphate. You can see M for methylated, G that is for guanosine, T, three phosphates you can see, that is triphosphate. So it is added at the 5' end, which is giving energy, isn't it? Why phosphates are added? It is giving always energy. It is activated now. So that is capping. That when at the 5' end, methylated guanosine triphosphate is added, that is called as capping, and at the 3' end, many adenine nucleotides are added to give an appearance of the tail. So that is what called as tailing. So now this is processed mRNA called as mature mRNA, and it is now ready to ready for the further process of translation. And so this processed mRNA or mature RNA from the nuclear pore, it gets released in the cytoplasm, where the actual process of protein synthesis takes place. That means ribosomes. This is what all about the transcription. Now the video of transcription I will show you in the next lecture. So